You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Wednesday, happy Mercury day. And boy, does it feel good to be back with you all. I took the day off yesterday, and full disclosure, I am feeling the full effects of what's happening astrologically right now. So I would love to start off today's live stream by just asking how you're feeling, taking a temperature of the room. I always like to acknowledge the fact that the transits affect us all differently depending on our own chart, our own blueprint, our own astrological makeup. And of course, I am seeing the transits through my eyes. So I want to be mindful of that, not to project too much of my own experience onto the forecast. We have a few of you here. Diane is here. Rachel's here. Happy Wednesday from Corby. Rachel says, love your shirt. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, Rachel, girl, this Pluto Lilith activation got me wanting to scream from the mountaintops and break things. So much drama, just trying to breathe through it, protect mine and my partner's energy. Yeah, we have that going on today too. That's what the live stream was supposed to be about yesterday, but I was not in a space to be live. So we'll touch on that today too. Yeah, Diane, thank you so much. Sending healing to everyone who's really feeling it today and through these transits. Today is a sensitive day for a lot of reasons, and it makes me really grateful that we have each other, that we have this community that we're building here, because loneliness is one of the most difficult emotions I think that we experience as humans. And I hope you all know that you're not alone and that this is a safe space for you to express however you're feeling in this moment. You know, even if you're like, oh gosh, Olivia's feeling it, you're allowed to be excited, you're allowed to be happy, you're allowed to be struggling, you're allowed to be exactly how you feel here. And you know, just with the news that came out this morning about a celebrity dying by suicide, it makes me realize how important it is to have safe spaces like this. So if you're struggling, know that you have support here. Know that there are resources, that you are not alone. I am here for you. You are welcome to reach out to me on Instagram if you ever just need someone to talk to or process with. I'm certainly feeling the collective energy. A lot of people are feeling that news today. And so I just want to hold space for that and remind you that 988 is the hotline that went live, I believe, last year. So if you ever just need someone to talk to that you don't know, someone anonymous, you can always call that hotline too. It feels fitting that we're talking a lot about mental health today because the sun is squaring Neptune. We're also going to be talking a lot about Mercury today. And of course, it's Mercury Day. So lots of synchronicities in the forecast. Corby says, been pretty quiet and low-key, reflective, definitely. Hey, George. All right, so let's get a current check on the energy. Let's check in. The sun is in Sagittarius. The moon is now in Virgo. So we're coming into the last quarter moon, and the sun and moon are in signs that are squaring each other. So they're both in mutable signs, which can make us pretty adaptable, but you might just be feeling that tension between your internal feelings and your external expression. We'll be feeling that a little bit more tomorrow, but we're starting to come into that last quarter moon today. And remember, the last quarter moon is the peak point of release. So oftentimes we have to feel tension, we experience discomfort in order to figure out what we need to let go of, what we need to release. And that's the phase we're coming into right now. But we have some heavy hitter transits today. So let's start with the one that we are feeling most strongly, and that is the sun squaring Neptune. So anytime the sun is coming into a harsh angle with another planet, we're really going to feel it, because if there is a planet or a body that's the most influential in our solar system, it's probably the sun, right? It's the sun that gives us life, that allows us to live on this planet, that literally gives us energy. So when we feel a harsh transit with the sun, we really feel it. And on the other end of this 90-degree angle is Neptune. Remember, about a week ago, Neptune stationed direct. So Neptune is starting to gain momentum again, starting to move forward again. And I will say Neptune, because it moves so slowly, it is still kind of at this standstill, right? It hasn't actually moved past the 22nd degree and started to gain speed again. It's direct, but it hasn't moved too much. So there's been a lot coming up with Neptune lately, a lot of questions, a lot of sensitivities, a lot, that's just kind of the energy right now in general. It's Sagittarius season. Everything is amplified. Everything is heightened. Everything feels bigger. And when the sun squares Neptune in particular, doubt, disillusion can come up, insecurity, confusion, anxiety, overwhelm. Neptune is extrasensory, right? Neptune is the planet of dreams. And we can almost think of dreams like a sixth sense. How is it that we're able to perceive things with our eyes closed? It feels like we're feeling things in our dream, even though we're not actually experiencing those things. Some people astral travel and have all these crazy experiences while they sleep. Sleeping or dreaming is almost like a sixth sense. So I bring that up because it might feel like that extra sense is activated today, and that can make us a little bit more anxious or overwhelmed or sensitive or tender. So all of these emotions, if you're feeling them, are perfectly normal with the sun squaring Neptune. Just a general confusion, kind of a giant question mark on the energy with the sun squaring Neptune. And you might even be feeling lethargic or unmotivated. The sun in Sagittarius wants us to go and expand and travel and be spontaneous, but Neptune in Pisces just wants to sleep. And these two energies are clashing with each other, and that can make it feel confusing about what to do, where to go, how to expand, how are we growing. So getting work done might be a little bit more difficult today. It just is going to feel a lot easier to check out than it is to get hard work done, face difficult tasks or conversations or confrontations. I will say also with the sun squaring Neptune, we're more easily deceived or confused. So not a day to really take anything at face value or buy into anything. What do we do with this energy? Because it feels confusing, right? What can we do with it? I think reflecting, kind of like Corby said, she's been pretty reflective. Reflecting on how you're feeling, reflecting on the current energy, and also taking stock of those confusing or blurry things in your life, whether it's thoughts, whether it's relationships, like really observing what feels confusing, what feels uncertain, what feels chaotic or sensitive. And from that place of awareness, we can start to work with, okay, how can we gain clarity? Today is probably not the day that you're going to find the clarity, but having the awareness of what feels confusing, what feels sensitive, what feels tender is the place to start, right? You have to have awareness in order to change anything. So the sun squaring Neptune, this is something we're probably going to feel, we might have started feeling it yesterday. You might start to keep feeling it, tomorrow. Rachel says, yeah, it's been an emotional roller coaster today and just overwhelmed because things keep coming up and I don't know how to handle it. Mostly parents not being parents, boundaries coming up. Boundaries is a big theme that comes up anytime we have a tense Neptune transit like this, because Neptune is like, boundaries. What are boundaries? Everything is just floaty and part of the fantasy, and we can just drift off to another realm, right? Like, what are boundaries? But in this 3D physical world that we live in, boundaries are very important. And so again, coming back to noticing when it feels like a boundary is violated, or have you even set the boundary in the first place? Boundaries feel confusing today, but we can gain more awareness around, kind of like Rachel is saying, putting boundaries up that aren't respected, or just acknowledging what our boundaries even are. We all have different boundaries. So yeah, boundaries really a big theme when we talk about Neptune energy, and just giving yourself grace, giving other people grace. We're all feeling more sensitive with the sun squaring Neptune. So having that compassion for yourself. This is one of those transits, like I said, I don't want to make this about me necessarily, but I use myself as an example because looking at the forecast yesterday and today, it's like, what is going on with me personally? Well, the sun is in my 12th house. So that's, for starters, just more sensitive energy. And the sun is squaring my sun and Neptune is opposing my sun. So just in general, personally, I'm in this phase of like confusion and doubt and a lot coming up over an extended period of time even. And just reflecting, coming back to that word reflecting on how much astrology has helped me rationalize, understand, and witness my own energy, my own emotions, just given me an ability to have more compassion with myself. Like, okay, you're not going crazy. There's at least part of the reason why you're feeling the way you're feeling is because of the energetic influence of the stars. So, this is a great day to take a look at where 22 degrees of mutable signs falls in your chart. So if you have any placements right around that 20 to 25 degree mark in Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, or Pisces, you're probably feeling this square a little bit more tensely than maybe someone who doesn't have heavy mutable placements in their chart. I am certainly feeling it. Yeah, so that's why I asked at the beginning, how is the energy feeling for you? Because I like to be mindful of the fact that we all experience things differently. And if this all sounds like mumbo jumbo to you and you're like, how do I figure out what's at these points in my chart? How do I figure out how this transit is playing into my energy? Sign up for transit tracking. It's going to be our month-long group journaling container that we do together, a whole moon cycle together starting on January 21st. I'm going to teach you how to read your chart, how to track the transits through your chart, give you daily journal prompts for you to check in with yourself every day, and we'll have weekly Zoom calls so we can all chat about it together. So yeah, just feeling really called to share about that on a day like today, because I have realized how much understanding the energy has helped me in my own mental health. And like I said, mental health struggles are also part of the effects of this transit too. Neptune is the planet most associated with our mental health, and Neptune and Mercury. We're also talking about Mercury quite a bit today, so that's what we'll get to next. But I'm someone who has dealt with anxiety and depression pretty much my entire life, and understanding astrology at the level that I now understand it has been one of the biggest tools to help me in my own mental health journey, and to, again, give myself compassion and empathy and grace for any sort of difficult emotions that are coming up. So I know it's been a little bit heavy to start this live stream, but I just want to share that with you all because it feels like some sort of like tool that I've unlocked that now I feel like I can share with others. Interesting. I'm just having all this reflection as I talk to you too about my Chiron and all the things. And we're also talking about Chiron today. Rachel says, my Mars is at 24 degrees and your midheaven in Gemini, squaring my ascendant in Virgo. It's been like that for a while. So thank you for the reminder to review the lessons I'm learning with this transit. Yeah, and Mars is squaring Neptune still for you and opposing the sun for you. So that makes sense why you're like, I just want to scream and feeling really like reactive and angry. Totally normal for what's happening in your personal chart, Rachel. So again, it's just... yeah, I'm so excited to have you, Bree. It can be really helpful, especially I know that I attract a lot of people who are similar energetically to me. I know this because I've seen so many of your charts, and I tend to like to rationalize things and analyze things quite a bit, and astrology has given me a compass or a lens to do that through, and I've found a lot of benefit from it. So I'll stop talking about how much I love astrology and why I love astrology, but just want to give you full permission to feel what you're feeling today and know that it's safe to feel that. So that's what's going on with the sun squaring Neptune, just making us all feel a little bit more sensitive, a little more tender, and probably pretty confused in some way, shape, or form. Now let's talk about what's going on with Mercury. So let me pull up the chart here. And you can see that square between the sun and Neptune. Luckily, the sun moves about a degree every day. So tomorrow, this will start to lighten up over the coming days. Things will get a little less foggy, a little less cloudy, a little less sensitive. And I really think this is a nice impetus for release. We're coming into the last quarter moon tomorrow. We're really in this releasing phase. So again, things are coming up now to be released, but Mercury is super active today too. On Mercury Day, of course, you can see Mercury at 11 degrees of Capricorn right now, and the North and South nodes are also at 11 degrees. So Mercury is harmonizing with the North node, forming a sextile to the South node, but also Chiron is at 11 degrees in Aries, squaring Mercury. So we've got a mashup going on with Mercury today, and let's talk it out. Let's talk about what this means. So Mercury and Capricorn makes us want to see things logically, make sense of things, be practical about the information we're consuming, how we're processing it, even the words we're speaking, which can make it more difficult when we have such a cloudy, uncertain day. Mercury in Capricorn wants certainty. It wants a plan. It wants practicality. It can be even cold or harsh about how we're communicating that plan or those needs. So be mindful of that for starters. But Mercury harmonizing with the North node. This is the first transit we started to feel this morning. Happened at about 6:30 in the morning Pacific time. We're going to feel it all day, right? But Mercury harmonizing with the North node, forming a supportive angle to the South node. This is really putting the focus on the future, on the plan, on the lessons we're learning, on who we're becoming. And through this very practical lens, it's really helping us to align with a mindset about the future. Like, again, who are we becoming? There could be confusion around that still, but it feels like our mental state is helping us align with the future and helping us move forward. Now, with Mercury also connecting with the South node in this sextile, we also are getting a little bit of support from a past version of ourselves. So kind of acknowledging what part of us we need to let go, what's keeping us in our comfort zone. Making practical plans for the future is going to feel very natural today, which is a little bit ironic with so much confusion, but it's probably going to feel good to mark something down on the calendar or make a practical plan that could actually help ease up the confusion a little bit, like creating your own certainty, being the leader, like taking action in some way. It doesn't have to be anything major, but just even being like, okay, this is the list. This is how we're practically going to tackle this confusion even. And that can help you kind of move forward. But at the same time, late tonight, or I guess I should say about 12 hours later, Mercury squares Chiron. This happens right before 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. So as the day goes on, Mercury squaring Chiron could make us a little more triggered. We want to be very mindful about how we're communicating when Mercury squares Chiron, because Mercury in Capricorn, like I said, can be very harsh, can be very cold, and that could even come across as hostile if we're triggered, if we're upset by something. Remember, we're all more sensitive as well, so we're more easily triggered. But Mercury squaring Chiron can really bring into our mental state the ways we've been hurt. We might be thinking about our wounding, thinking about our healing. It could force us to acknowledge what needs to be healed, where there's potential, where there's wounding, and where we can focus our healing on. Now, with Mercury and Capricorn as well, we're very much focused on the end goal. We're focused on completion and success. But this transit is forcing us to acknowledge the wounds that are holding us back. So we're playing this balancing act with everything happening with Mercury today between the future and the past. And there could be some triggers or woundings that come up in the process that really show us what we need to let go of in order to align with the next iteration, the next version of ourselves. Watch out for hostility. Watch out for being a little explosive. Mercury in Capricorn feels like it can be like, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. I'm just going to be cold and quiet. But if the right trigger is provoked, if the right button is pressed, it's like full blown, I'm going to show you who's boss mode, right? So be very mindful about how you're communicating. Be very mindful about how other people are communicating. And again, boundaries. Boundaries could get very blurry today with the sun squaring Neptune. So having boundaries, expressing your boundaries in a firm but kind way can be very helpful. Diane says, with my Chiron in Gemini at 28 degrees, my ascendant is 21 degrees Gemini, being mutable. I'm a bit nervous if there's something coming since today doesn't feel too heavy. Well, don't set yourself up to be worried, right? But I will say, the sun is opposing your rising. So there could be some stuff coming up around relationships for you in the next couple days, but don't manifest that. You know, if you're feeling good, stay in the energy of feeling good. The transits aren't a sentence. The transits don't have to define our experience, but they can be helpful in reflecting on our experience, right? So, you know, you might be feeling just a little bit, I will say with the sun opposing your rising, there's a lot of illumination happening for you right now. And that could be why things don't feel quite as heavy. Rachel says, really interesting. Right after I set that boundary this morning, I pulled the devil card that talked about addictions. I am addicted to people pleasing. Ooh, codependent no more. Codependency and addiction are hand in hand, my friend. And I say that from experience. And it was like confirmation, like, hey, you put yourself first now. Don't fall back into that addiction because it'll test you. Lots of healing with that. What a powerful realization to have. Wow, Rachel. I am very impressed. Very proud of you. Super powerful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And, you know, Mercury squaring Chiron, it could be like triggering those wounds to show you, hey, this is how I've been hurting myself by not setting boundaries, by people pleasing. And it feels like a very forcing, Mercury squaring Chiron, especially Mercury in Capricorn, feels like it's forcing us to understand our wounding in a very practical and logical way, right? It's like the completion of a formula. Like, oh, now we understand what the exponent was, what X is in the formula. It's like almost, but not in like an aha moment and like a, you got to see it now. Like Mercury and Capricorn is like, come on, get it together. You know, you've got to understand this. So yeah, a little intense, especially if you are a Gemini rising or a Virgo rising and Mercury is your ruling planet. You might be feeling more of that trine to the North Node, like things are unfolding for you, but I would just be mindful that as the day goes on, triggers could come up as Mercury squares Chiron. I love how it aligned that way. And that is the beauty of astrology, right? Instead of being like, oh, why is this happening? Like, oh, this is why this is happening. This is what this is showing me. This is what this is teaching me. It's that lens to look through that's like, yeah, it might not make it easier, but it also makes it make sense. Or at least that's what it does for me. So that's what's going on with our major transits today. The sun squaring Neptune and Mercury connecting with the north and south nodes and squaring Chiron. The north and south nodes and Chiron are all at 11 degrees right now. So anytime a planet connects with one of them, it's going to connect with all of them. And on that note, it really feels like with all of these planets at 11 degrees, 11 being a master number as well, the north and south node representing our future and our past, what we're here to learn and what we're here to leave behind, very much feels linked to our healing right now. And even looking at the chart, it's like Chiron isn't making any connections, any major connections with the north and south nodes. It's making these awkward angles to both a quincunx to the south node and a semi-sextile to the north node. And both of these angles are asking us what adjustments we need to make. So triggers could be showing you what adjustments do I need to make to align with the next version of myself, to learn the lessons I'm here to learn and to leave behind what I already know, what I've already mastered, what I've already completed. So our healing and our destiny feel very much linked with the nodes of fate and Chiron all at the same degree right now and all activating planets at the same time right now. Okay. Those are the major transits. Now let's just touch on what's going on with the moon. So the waning gibbous moon moved into Virgo just after midnight, 12:46 a.m. Pacific time. So just before 4 a.m. Eastern time, we woke up under a Virgo moon. And the waning gibbous moon in Virgo, it's almost the last quarter moon. The last quarter moon makes us want to wipe the slate clean. It makes us want to release, clear things out. And especially with it in Virgo, with us coming into that phase and the moon in Virgo, we really are craving some cleansing, some purity. We want to like let it all go, get organized, come back to square one, wipe the slate clean. That's anytime there's a waning moon in Virgo, I just get this visual, like just clearing things out, wiping it clean. And this could be physical. You know, you might over the next couple days feel like physically clearing things out, physically cleaning up shop, or it could be clearing out any stagnant energy, releasing any limiting beliefs, releasing any, or even like plugging up any energetic leaks. Energy leaks have really been coming up for me this week. And if you're not familiar with the concept, it's like if you have all these things you're constantly thinking about that you need to do, or energetic connections with people that aren't filling you up, those are energy leaks. Those are slowly pulling your energy without you even maybe realizing it. So taking stock of any energy leaks, the sun squaring Neptune is a pretty powerful opportunity to do that too, because we're so sensitive to our energy. So you might even realize on a day like today, like, oh, this has really been taking a lot of my energy now that I'm more sensitive to it. So it could be that you're just resetting, that you're cutting off any energies that aren't pure, that aren't serving you. Because also when the moon is in Virgo, we crave being of service to others. We crave helping others. That feels really good and nurturing and fulfilling to us, helping other people. But remember, you can't help other people if you're not helping yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. So what's pulling from your cup? What's draining your cup? How can you stop that? How can you release those things, cut those things off so that you can be of service to yourself, to other people? It really feels like analyzing how our energy is being drained or used or taken with the moon in Virgo. The moon in Virgo, it's very analytical. There's this want to make sense of things today. with a lot of the transits. We really have this desire to make sense of things, but the energy just feels cloudy and confusing with the sun squaring Neptune. So honestly, like doing one small thing, checking one thing off the to-do list, making sense of one thing, kind of tricking yourself into thinking like, oh, we figured something out. I figured something out. Like we gave ourselves a little boost of like, yeah, we can do it, without putting the pressure on to figure everything out, right? The moon only makes one connection today, and it's a trine to Venus. Still feeling this a little bit right now. It was exact at 11 a.m., but you can see the moon at 6 degrees, trine Venus at 5 degrees right now. And a trine is this natural flowing energy. So when the moon harmonizes with Venus, love can flow through easily. And with us being more sensitive, that's something to bring up as well. You know, we can be more sensitive to positive energy. We can be more sensitive to loving energy coming our way too. So that could serve as a little push, a reminder to send out some love, you know, because other people are going to be more receptive and sensitive to it. It's easier to align with love when the moon harmonizes with Venus. But what's interesting with Venus in Capricorn, we also have this craving for completion, for commitment. And that's why I keep coming back to like giving yourself a little sense of accomplishment by crossing one thing off the to-do list, by committing to one thing today. You know, we really want to, we desire seeing things through to completion with Venus in Capricorn. And as the moon in Virgo, this very productive energy with the Virgo moon harmonizes with Venus in Capricorn, it's like this very grounded desire, this very practical desire. So pat yourself on the back, do something that makes you feel like, okay, we can do it. I got this. You know, that is kind of, I feel like one thing that might help if you're feeling a little lost or confused in the energy today. Venus to the rescue. Exactly. Venus bringing the love back in. Yeah, definitely. So that's what's going on. That's it. The moon harmonizing with Venus, and the moon gets pretty quiet. Tomorrow will be the last quarter moon in Virgo, so we'll dive into that tomorrow and all the different connections the last quarter moon is making. I do, since we didn't have a live stream yesterday, just want to touch on really quickly before we wrap this up what's going on with Pluto and Lilith, because yesterday was the exact opposition of Pluto and Lilith. We've been feeling this transit for a couple of weeks now, honestly, and we'll feel it for a little while longer. Neither of these placements move very quickly at all. So 27 degrees of Cancer and Capricorn. You can see right down the middle of the chart, that dark red line. That's that opposition between Pluto and Lilith that we're feeling. And Rachel touched on it at the beginning of the live stream. These are two of the most intense placements in our charts. Pluto being the planet of death and rebirth, highlighting our shadows. It's a really intense energy, manipulative, dark. Lilith is the dark moon, or the black moon. So the point on the moon's path, the farthest from Earth. And which is interesting because that would mean that Pluto is at a position that's closest to Earth, relatively speaking, because Pluto is very far away. But anyway, I digress. Pluto opposite Lilith. What does this mean for you? This is something we're feeling in the background. We've been feeling in the background. This is really an invitation to step into our power in a lot of ways, but also highlighting like what we need to release, what we need to let go of. It's really putting the emphasis on our shadows in a lot of ways. So manipulation, anger, bitchiness, power plays, all possible over the coming week or so, and that we've been feeling as well for the past week or so. Remember, with this transit, there's a difference between being empowered and being overpowering. Because at its best, Pluto opposing Lilith is like, I know what I want. I know how to get it. Like, I am empowered. I know my worth. I know my sovereignty. I understand that I am the alchemist and I can turn shadows into light. I can use my shadows. I can use my darkness for the highest good. But at its worst, Pluto opposing Lilith just makes us kind of mean and manipulative and hostile and aggressive. So remember, Lilith is all about control, and Pluto is very much about control as well. So remember that your true power lies in your ability to control yourself. And that's really all you can control, right? When we try to control other people, scenarios, we're just giving our power away. Instead, focusing on how can we react to this situation? How can we be in control of ourselves, of our emotions, of our value, of our boundaries? So control, definitely a theme that's coming up as well. And empowerment too. There's a lot of empowerment in finding that self-control and that confidence in your ability to control yourself. I think so many of us, myself included, go through the world like, why is this happening? Or this, like almost, again, giving our power away to like, this situation is causing this. But it's like, you're in control. You're at the wheel. You're the captain of your own ship. And Pluto opposing Lilith is here to remind us of our power. That's okay, Elena. You can always go back and watch. And we've just been kind of chatting away about all the different energies playing out right now. But you're already attuned to the energy. I really feel like some of my inner wounds are being triggered last night and today. The sun squaring Neptune, making us more sensitive. Mercury squaring Chiron, triggering those wounds, making us more mentally aware and rationally aware of our wounding, of our need for healing. So you're already aligned with the energy. Rachel says, my inner Lilith is coming out for sure. Lots of protection energy coming out, but trying not to let it get the best of me. I just want to be the best for the ones I love. But most importantly, just be the best for you, right? We can't control other people, and trying to please other people is a way of trying to control them, which is kind of wild when you think about it, because yes, we want them to be happy. We want to make them feel good. But by doing that, essentially, we're trying to control how they feel. So with people pleasing, a lot of times we have the best intentions and we think we're being really selfless. But what we're really trying to do is gain this sense of control. Like, I want to know how they're going to react. I want to know how it's going to affect me. It's a really interesting mind flip when you realize that, when you start seeing things through that lens. And protection energy, like you're saying, like you're really just trying to protect yourself and your people. You might even, by people pleasing, be trying to protect the other person. But protection is also an element of control. Protecting people, protecting yourself is having control over the situation, right? All we can do is control ourselves. And that's what Pluto opposing Lilith is here to remind us of. And of course, Lilith in Cancer and Pluto in Capricorn are bringing up those themes of protection too. So you're right on point with that, Rachel. Just what are you trying to control? And what are you afraid of happening if you're not in control? Ooh, Pluto opposing Lilith. What are you afraid of happening if you are not in control? I'm just taking that in for myself right now. Sometimes things just come through as I'm talking and I'm like, wow, I needed to hear that as well. Yes, you are right on track, Elena. Absolutely. Just uncomfortable. Yeah. Sun squaring Neptune, definitely uncomfortable. A sense of feeling not good enough. I am feeling that as well. I have been really wrestling with myself this week, feeling like I'm not showing up how I want to show up, and not because of anybody else, but because of me. And that's also a difficult position to be in when you realize you are the only one in control. And at least just speaking for myself, not saying this is what you're feeling, but just feeling like you can't control yourself. That's where I've been as well. So yes, if it's uncomfortable, you're probably doing it right, and know that you are more than good enough. You are doing amazing things for the people around you. I'm sure that you're just being hard on yourself, and I can relate. So you're not alone. You're not alone at all. Hi, Nikki. Well, it sounds like we're all feeling a lot of the things that we talked about today in a variety of ways. The energy is just, there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot happening. Let's come back to our affirmation of the day. Yes, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad I have this community too. I always feel better when I live stream, even when I'm the one that's putting resistance up to it. Again, kind of letting myself down, feeling like I'm not good enough. I've been feeling that too. So it's such beautiful confirmation when I come on live and you're all here and cheering each other on and cheering me on, confirming that this community is helpful for you. It really does mean the world to me. And if you're feeling lost at all or confused at all, this affirmation is for you. Getting lost allows me to find myself again. We have to get lost in order to be found, right? And part of the journey sometimes is getting lost. You can think of this lifetime as a trip, a vacation. We're just here for a short trip. And, on vacation, sometimes getting lost is really annoying. I think most of us have had experiences like that. Like, where are we? Where are we supposed to go? Did we miss the turn? Get out the map. Getting lost can be annoying. It can be uncomfortable, like Elena said. But there's also magic in getting lost. Sometimes getting lost leads us to new routes, to new discoveries, to new destinations, and helps us find new things about ourselves. So if you're like me and you're feeling a little sensitive, you're feeling a little lost, you're feeling a little uncertain, know that on the other end of being lost is finding yourself and maybe even discovering something new along the way. And with that, we're going to do a pull from the Starseed tarot deck. This is my Neptune deck. Now I have different decks that have like different planetary associations that I think of when I'm looking at the forecast. So this deck always just reminds me of Neptune energy, checking out to another world, another realm, another starseed planet, another starseed race. Oh, thank you, Elena. The affirmations are pulled from my brain. They come out of here. But usually just inspired by the transits and what's going on that day, and usually something that I need to hear that I just want to share with you all. So I'm glad that resonated for you. Rachel says, so good. I never thought of it that way. Protection, a form of control. I love that perspective. I guess I'm just afraid of everything falling apart with my partner, friends, and family. That's so normal. That is such a normal fear. I've been there. I think many of us have been there before, like really grasping onto things, trying to keep them just so things don't fall apart. But it's not your job to keep everybody together. It's not your job to control other people. It's your job to live your best life. It's your job to make yourself feel good. And from that place of feeling good and radiating so much positivity and magic that we feel from you every day on these live streams, that's what is going to attract the people who are meant to be in your life, and maybe even help the people already in your life see that there's more out there, that there's potential, that feeling good is possible, So yeah, those fears are totally normal. And that confusion is normal too. So I'm glad that resonated. That was, like I said, a huge shift for me. It really helped me with all my Virgo, Scorpio energy, my control freak energy. It really helped me to understand what I was doing in people pleasing. That's not to say I don't fall into people pleasing. Trust me. I also have a stellium in Libra, okay? People pleasing comes very naturally to me. But seeing things through a different lens sometimes is the key to empowering ourselves, right? Okay, let's do this card pull. Give it one last shuffle, and we'll take a nice deep breath together, whether you're joining me live or finding this video later, just giving yourself permission to take this moment and take the deepest breath you've taken all day. And with this breath, just to cleanse any fear, doubt, stagnancy that's ready to leave your body. Here we go. Breathing in nice and deep. And release it. What do we need to know? Star bathing. I've been getting a lot of new cards lately. Star bathing, light body, crystal grid, transmission, activation. Ooh, okay. And it has a picture of a woman laying down and just bathing under the stars. So let's see. Here's what it has to say. Here's the message that wanted to come through. The stars are constantly showering emanations onto the crystalline grid of the Earth. When things are in balance, the planet also sends information back up to the stars. Many star seeds have come to Earth at this time to help shift the planet vibrationally, to activate the ancient codes of wisdom that humanity has forgotten. And all of that information is stored in the crystalline grid. If you pull this card, you may be being called to begin working with the stars and the crystalline grid of the Earth. Some people believe that the crystalline grid of the Earth anchors divine cosmic frequencies onto the planet. You may be guided to journey to particular places on Earth to unlock these cosmic codes with your presence. You may also be interested in a practice called star bathing. Download a star bathing meditation at starseedoracle.me. This card commonly arises because you're here to connect with the crystalline grid of the Earth, either in your hometown or by traveling to other places without quite knowing why. It can also mean that your light body, the energy body in its highest form, is being activated. If this resonates, take things extra slow in order to integrate this change of vibration. I feel like this card is coming up because we are more sensitive to energy right now. We're more sensitive to the energy of the stars. There is a meteor shower happening right now, the next couple nights, I believe. We're more sensitive to other people's energy. And from that place of sensitivity, things can be activated. We can become more aware of activations. And even just the last sentence of this can mean that your light body, your energy body is being activated. Take things extra slow in order to integrate the change of vibration. The sun squaring Neptune feels like expansion by slowing down, which is counterintuitive. It's this speed up, slow down clash that we're feeling. But this card kind of makes it make sense. With the sun in Sagittarius, there's this element of growth and expansion, but Neptune squaring it in Pisces is really forcing us to get into our own energy and to be really aware of our own energy and our sensitivities. And also maybe to like something else that came up that as I was getting ready for this live stream, and as I was thinking about the transits. Is it still here? It came in. Is it going to stay? Where did it go? It just came in and left. It might come back. We'll give it a second. What was I thinking? Gosh. Well, I guess it wasn't meant to be said. Thanks for being here, Rachel. Thank you. Yeah, Libra moon, there's that urge to please other people, to really bounce your emotions off other people, take other people's perspective and experience into account with your own emotions. Totally makes sense. Yeah, lots of opposition yesterday. You were feeling that opposition between Pluto and Lilith. Yeah, stargazing. It's a beautiful, this might be your sign to just go and look up at the stars today. Again, our energy is more sensitive. So just even being under the stars, perceiving the stars with our eyeballs, we can kind of download those energies. We can download their activations just by bathing in them. So on a day like today, when we're really sensitive, you might gain some great insights from the stars. Man, what was I going to tell you? Okay, I'm trusting. Oh, there it was. Okay. This is kind of the download that came through as I was getting ready. Sometimes we have to go through challenges to deepen our trust. And Neptune's energy reminds us of trust, being able to trust and believe in something that we can't necessarily see or rationalize, which is why it's so much about sensitivity and that sixth sense and energy, right? And I feel like sometimes we go through challenges in life. We go through growth portals and opportunities and discomfort in order to deepen our level of trust, in order for the universe to show us that we have to trust because we don't know what's coming next. So sometimes confusion and doubt and sensitivity and insecurity and all these things that are coming up today with the sun squaring Neptune, the sun in Sagittarius and Neptune in Pisces, these are the signs that are most associated with trust and belief, and they're squaring each other. So this discomfort could be here to help us deepen our trust, deepen our belief, and deepen our ability to surrender to a power greater than our understanding. That was the download, and it came through. All right. Okay. Love this question, Brie. What does it mean if my rising, Chiron, and North node are the same? Is that common? I wouldn't say that's common. That's probably something that's more unique to you. I'm sure you're not the only person on the planet with this triple conjunction, but are they all like conjunct each other, right next to each other, or all just in the same house? They're all in Libra, right? So that would mean that your Chiron and North node are probably in your first house. If they're all on top of your ascendant, on top of your rising, I would say that showing up for you is probably difficult. It probably feels uncomfortable showing up and being in person, like even just appearing, your appearance could be kind of difficult for you. But also there's a lot of healing and purpose in just showing up, in just making an appearance, being present, being yourself. For you, that's where the healing comes in. That's your purpose, your direction. That probably also means that your South node is in Aries and likely in your 7th house or around your 7th house. So it feels more comfortable probably for you to be seen in relationships, for you to be energetically really invested and linked in your relationships. And it's an interesting polarity here because the North node, Chiron, and your rising are all in Libra, the planet of relationships. So relationships feel very comfortable for you. Yes, yeah. But you being able to stand on your own 2 feet and show up by yourself just as you are, as this beautiful being, that's where the healing comes in. That's where the purpose comes in. Really like knowing your worth, standing in your values, and doing things on your own. Yeah, I hope that resonates. But yes, you're very powerful in person too. Like I love being around you in person. So if you're ever feeling like kind of a wallflower, or that, you know, you're not like needed in person, or that you don't have that much influence, you're a lot more powerful and influential than you think, especially when you show up. That's all you have to do is just show up. Okay, I hope that resonated. That is going to do it for this episode of Transits Today. Thank you all for being here. I needed this today. I needed to talk it all out with you all. And I just love that we can be here to witness each other in all the phases we're in, and all the challenges we're experiencing, and all the beauty we're experiencing, to support each other, to encourage each other, to congratulate each other, pat each other on the back. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you all. You're all so special. And I know the work that we do here almost every day is changing the energy. It's raising the vibration of the planet little by little. So I just appreciate you all being here. All right. I'm going to go. Now that I'm in the energy with you all, I'm like, I just want to stay here, but don't want to keep you all. I just have so much deep gratitude to you. And I will be back tomorrow morning to talk about the Virgo moon, what's going on with this last quarter moon, how we can lean into this peak point of release. And of course, on Friday, we'll talk through the energy of the weekend together. Thank you for being here too, Elena. All right. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Remember, you can only control yourself, and you have to get lost in order to find yourself again. Love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. But until I see you next, stay curious. thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.